Alright, as you can see, the new YouTube page is not available for live streaming yet. I made it last night, but I do not want these on my personal YouTube page anymore, so we are going to continue. Look at the hair. We're going to continue. I don't know what to do with hair. With this video. It won't be live tonight. I'm just going to post it up in the groups now. Really quick, we're going to go right to... We're going to go over in-person. So here's the in-person tournament. We got 3 anglers signed up so far. Awesome. That's awesome. $60 entry, $10 to big fish. It's on Cowan Lake. Fish anywhere in the lake. It was this was a bunch of like rules, and it was real tacky looking. So what I did instead was, if you click on the rules, if you click on view rules, go to the very last page. Those are the Cowan Specific rules that were on the front page of the tournament. I think it's tacky to have all this there, so go read this. If you're in the Cowan Lake tournament, this is important specifically to the Cowan Lake tournament. Boat, bank, or kayak fishing is legal. If you're in a boat, you can have 2 people, but you can only have 2 rods per registration. So if you have 2 people in there and 4 rods out, one person's responsible for 2 rods, the other person's responsible for the other 2 rods, and neither person can help casting, baiting, landing. The only thing you can assist in is taking the picture of the fish. And that goes for everybody. That's not just people in a boat. If you're bank fishing with somebody, they cannot touch your rods while you're setting up your bait, while you're casting, while you're landing the fish. But once the fish is landed, we don't mind assistance in photographing the fish. By assistance, I mean they can take the picture, they can hold the board steady. No one other than the angler can be touching the fish at the time of the photo, but they can assist in the photo process. Let's go. Moving on. Since we have the rules up, we're going to go over to some updates. All right. First update is right here. The catfish nose or jaw must be in contact with the measuring board fence, which is the beginning of the board, and the fence must... Oh, real quick. There's only 3 boards that are legal at Cowan Lake tomorrow. That is your Rapala board, your Magnum, your 60-inch, any catch board, and your Muskie bumper. No homemade boards are allowed tomorrow. So keep that in mind if you are fishing. If it means you can't fish this event, that's fine. Hopefully there'll be more down the road. But over here, what was added was catfish nose or jaw must be in contact with the measuring board fence, and the fence must be clearly visible and identifiable in the photo. Violation will result in either a penalty of length or complete denial of the photo. If the catfish appears not to be bumped against the board, it can result in a length reduction. If the bump is completely not visible, the entire fish will be denied. We have a few cases this month where the bump isn't completely visible. However, the rules were not as clear as they are now. I hate using that word because it's in the rule itself. That word identifiable makes it much easier to judge. So, yes, was I able to zoom in on some of these bump boards and see them? Of course, which is why if anyone sees a picture out there of a fish with a questionable bump, I was able to zoom in on from my side and see those boards, the bumps. But some of those photos going forward, if submitted now, would not count based on the rules that we have adjusted. Some people might say, hey, that's not fair to adjust a rule midway through a tournament. Don't care. In this scene, we're going to be very proactive. If we see something in our rule book that isn't working or doesn't make sense, the moment I see it, I'm changing it. And going forward, that's how it's going to be ruled. This video is going to be posted on March 12th. So March 12th, from the time I post this video on, these are the rules that take place. Now, what would not be fair is if I did not make it a public announcement to the group and I just started willy-nilly changing the rules and nobody knew. But these are things that should be more black and white. These are things that it should have been judged on before. And I can't go in and judge a fish based on things that aren't written down. That's where you get into controversies and people arguing, etc. The next one, which came up this month, is Where's it at? Background. Competitors' watercraft should be clearly visible and identifiable in the photograph. Violation will result in denial of the photo. If a picture is taken with a fish outside of the kayak, an identifiable part of the kayak must be visible, such as a decal, the name of the kayak, identifiable writing on the kayak, etc. If it's honestly, if you take a picture and just the side of your kayak and it's just hard plastic, that could be a cooler. It could be a bunch of different things. Make sure there's something identifiable and unique to your kayak. The best way to do it is just have the brand name. If you absolutely have to take a picture of a fish outside of the kayak for whatever reason, have the brand name or the name of the kayak visible in the picture where it's built into the kayak. That's what I try and do. Um, Ideally, Ronnie Paulin did this last month. I really like this. He was bank fishing, but he went and he still put the measuring board on top of the kayak, so the floorboard was in the background. That's ideally the best way to do it, whether you're out on the water or you are bank fishing. That's the best way to do it, and you'll never get denied that way. But if for some reason you have to take a picture on the bank with the board not on the kayak, make sure it's identifiable. Now, that word identifiable was not in there before. So we have a situation where a kid submitted, I just outed him, I said kid. An angler submitted 4 photos of a fish. 3 of the photos were really questionable. Was the kayak clearly in the picture? Yes, defined clearly. Everyone has a different opinion on what clearly means. The word identifiable takes that black and white out of there. He submitted 4 photos, and in all those photos, the kayak was technically there, but it wasn't clear except for one. And then in that one photo, there were other issues in the photo. Each photo had a separate issue. In conjunction, I originally approved it with a -1 deduction. And then after further discussions and like thinking about it, you really shouldn't be judging based on photos in conjunction. That's going to be the next rule that we updated. Um, so you really shouldn't be judging fish based on photos in conjunction. It should be one photo. Video evidence is to support a single picture. Video evidence is not to support an entry. It's just to support a picture if there's a question. Apologize for any baby in the background. That'll bring to the next rule change. All right, so right here, each digital photo submitted in each event must be of a different fish. Subsequent digital photos of the same fish submitted by the same competitor in the event will be denied, and repeat offenses may lead to disqualification if deemed intentional. That's actually important. Poor Ethan Miller, he keeps on duping fish, but I don't think it's his fault. He's not doing it on purpose. It's just, learning the app. The judgment will be based on the best or least penalized photo. So if you submit 4 pictures of a fish, whichever picture is best or least penalized, that's what we're gonna take our judgment based off of. So in the example I was just talking about, he only had 1 photo that fit all that criteria, and the least penalized photo that he submitted, the bump, it wasn't clear that the fish's nose was against the bump, so the judgment ended up being ultimately off of that single photo. The other 3 could not, even based on the old rules, really couldn't be accepted. There was not a clearly identifiable kayak in 2 of the photos, and then the one photo that was perfect, the board itself, the numbers were completely not legible. So I took the photo where you could see a good portion of the kayak, and you could see the numbers, but you could not clearly see the nose was bumped. So I gave him a -1 inch penalty based on that single photo of the nose not clearly being bumped. That's where that denial came in. But that's where I also felt it was important to change this rule to where before I was trying to take all of the photos in conjunction and the video evidence and say, look, we can't, there's no way we cannot accept this fish based on everything in combination. But that's actually that just opens Pandora's box, because once you start accepting multiple pictures of a fish and judging it that way, you're gonna have 10 photos being submitted of every single fish and people arguing about every single one. Judgment period. It's going to be based on one photo, and it's going to be your best one that you have out there, or at least penalized. And then in addition to that, same rule, you may not adjust the contrast, coloring, add effects, crop, etc. after the photo is taken. Take this into account when night fishing. You may want to adjust your settings prior to taking the photo to ensure the photo is legible at all judging points. What happened here was a gentleman was night fishing. The standard photo that he took, you just could not see the tail or the nose of the fish, but he was able to adjust the contrast, and it made the fish 100% legal. It made it a 100% legal photo, and he was able to do it for 2 of his fish. We didn't have this rule in there saying you can't adjust contrast, etc. So I told him, like, go ahead, submit it with those. We're going to take it. I can tell it's the identical photo. But going forward, we are locking this down. It's not in the rules. We're locking this down. No altering of the picture, period. He wasn't being malicious or nefarious in his attempt to change the photo. He was just trying to make it a legal photo. But if you open Pandora's box where you're allowed contrast and stuff, then, sorry. If you open Pandora's box where you start allowing people to change the contrast to make photos legal, people are going to start altering it in other ways, and they're going to claim that, oh, I was just doing this when they were actually altering it another direction. So I let them put those 2 in, and if you guys don't like that, too bad, honestly. But we're putting a stop to that right now. You cannot make any adjustments to the photo going forward. That wasn't written in stone in our rules, so it would not have been fair for me to not accept it prior to that. Plus, I'm going to be honest. I am judging for the anglers. My goal is offense. I want you guys to get fish on the board. I am going to use the rules to your benefit as much as I can. But if I see something, like in that case with the photo and the contrast, I was like, hey, it's not against our rules. Go ahead and submit it. We're gonna use the rules in your favor, but we got to put a stop to it right now because it can be a disaster down the road. So when people, if people are upset that this is happening in this tournament, I kind of want to say get over it, because yes, you might be upset that those things slid, but they slid against the rule book that was at that point in time. We caught it, we addressed it immediately, and we fixed the rule book going forward. Now they're no longer going to be issues down the road. Yeah, and I don't think we had any other rule changes. Best of luck tomorrow at Cowan. Identifiers out at 7:30, and I am going to be busy later tonight. That is also another reason why I wanted to do the video now. All right, best of luck, everybody. Oh, standings. I don't have time for standings. So I get back to work. Best of luck, everybody. I might do standings on Monday. See ya.